friends. Today I'm here to share with you some fabrics and notions that I have been acquiring over the last month or so. So I've got some souvenirs from my trip to Portland, as well as some goodies that I picked up when I got back here in the Netherlands. I had a couple of little like day trips out to some cities that I don't get to spend a lot of time in. And of course, there were some great, wonderful fabric stores. Had to pick up some goodies. So I'll kind of share what I got and what I'm sort of thinking about. I don't have firm plans for some of these fabrics, but I'll kind of share like what I'm sort of imagining and what I need to do, like do a little bit of research on and maybe ask if you have any suggestions. So let's get into it. So this here is my little Portland stack. Now I did budget like time and dollars, but I didn't have a lot of suitcase space to budget for my trip. So I wanted to go to Bolt, which is my favorite fabric store. And then also I made it over to Josephine's dry goods this time. So I only bought one fabric, mostly because of the amount of space, but I did buy a bunch of like little non-fabric things. So I bought a couple of little stickers. This one's Sarah Hearts. It's a little pin cushion. This one is Cotton and Ochre, which is a brand I have not heard of before. It says cup of Sewjo, and I'm going to pretend, of course, that it is a cup of tea and not coffee because I don't like coffee. I got the Sarah Hearts Stork scissors patch. I got the sticker last year and it's been living up here, but now I have a little patch that I can put on something. I also got a bunch of matchy labels. Now, I did already put them away and donated the packaging to my daughter's crafting situation. So I'll just put in like a little picture of the ones that I got. I got the green hearts that come with a nice little chartreuse heart and some little stripes. And that is like my favorite color green right now. Plus the little cowboy is really cute, or cowboy boot. And then the little cherry. So I think those will be really cute and go in a lot of my makes. I really like the color palette there. Matchy labels are ones that I haven't found any retailers for here in the Netherlands, so I knew I wanted to get some when I was over in the States, because yeah, ordering from America is a little bit tough right now. Yeah, so I was happy to be able to pick those up. The other thing I love about Bolt is that they have a pretty wide selection of books. So not just like sewing books with patterns and techniques in them, but I picked up this one and it's called Feel Something, Make Something, a guide to collaborating with your emotions. So not strictly a sewing book, but kind of a making process arts book. So I'm really excited to get into this. I've already started and I'm trying to make sure that I slow myself down with this one because there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. And I just have a tendency to like tunnel vision my way through books and then I get to the end and forget what they're about. So I'm trying to take this in small little chunks where I can actually like process and apply. But it's super cute. There's lots of really fun, like little hand-drawn um, illustrations in here. And yeah, it's just about like incorporating more creativity into your life and how that can be tied to what we're processing. So I'm very excited about this little book. Again, they had so many beautiful, definitely like textile arts style books, but then also ones that are kind of more broad about creativity like this one. As much as I wanted to buy like all the fabrics in the store, I thought it would be wiser to pick up something a little more compact. And this is a pattern that I've been wanting for, well, literally a year ago. I put this pattern in with this fabric right here. It's a little wool plaid on my list, and then it's also on my make 9 for this year, so it was good to finally pick up the pattern for that. So I've got the fabric, I've got the pattern, I can get going on the Bernadette skirt. And then kind of in a similar vein, I got this little cross stitch kit, and I've been finding that I really like more simplistic cross stitch kits. I started one recently and then was like, actually, I know I can do it, but I think I don't really want to do it. What I'm loving about cross stitch right now is like being able to just kind of sit and either watch something or like listen to an audiobook, or I'm doing something with my hands, but I don't quite have to like think about it so much. So this is a 1 out of 5 difficulty. And it's beautiful. The other reason I got it though is because it is by Junebug and Darlin, who is a local Portland craft maker. So I'm very excited about this little cross stitch kit. And the last little thing that I picked up from Bolt is actually a souvenir from Bolt itself. This is their little t-shirt and I really love the design. They're actually phasing this one out though. They're coming up with a new t-shirt coming, I think they said in the next couple of months. So they only had a few sizes. So I ended up picking the extra large in the unisex. So it's definitely too big for me, but I think there's enough fabric here that I can just like kind of cut it down to my size and then just kind of reassemble it, is the plan. But yeah, it's this beautiful sewing box. I really love the cobalt blue against the kind of cream, and it's a really nice 100% cotton. It feels like a really good weight and it's really nice and soft. So it's very good quality and it was nice to pick that up in their little sale. So next I headed over to Josephine's Dry Goods, which I had heard wonderful things about, but I'd never actually been there myself. It is a beautiful shop and I got to meet the owner and chat a little bit. And they do a really fun thing there where if you come in wearing something that you've made and you brag about it a little bit, you get 10% off. So I think it's a really cute way to kind of encourage like community and connection. So I got 10% off of this incredible Japanese cotton dobby. Just slide this over here. So this is from Hoka? No, Hoko? I don't think I'm saying it right. I will try to find a link to this fabric, but I think she said that like she had just gotten it in and hadn't had a chance to put it online yet. And when I've checked back again, I haven't seen it. So I'm wondering if she got it in and then it just like immediately sold out because I mean, it's incredible. This is my absolute favorite color for the last like year or so. I think it is really magical. This kind of like, I don't know, like a fresh olive kind of color. I think it's really, I love that it's a bright color. It feels really fresh and zesty and bright, but it has these like kind of ochre undertones that make it a little bit more earthy. And so for me, I tend to lean more towards like muted, earthier colors, but this one is still like really nice and saturated. It kind of like blends both worlds. And yeah, I really love it. And then watercolor kitties on it. So this is 100% cotton and it's got this really cool texture in it. I'm curious how much it's going to kind of shrink up a little bit in the wash. She said it's not the same as like a double gauze. It's not going to get like super crinkly and like really wavy, but it will soften out a little bit. So I don't have any firm ideas for this one just yet. I think it would be a really cool dress. It's obviously what I like always gravitate towards. I think something kind of more like simple and strappy to really like show off the print that's not going to have like princess seams or too many style lines and really just let these little kitties shine. But I don't have anything like right at the top of my list right now. And given that we're going into autumn, I think this is probably one that I'm going to save for like next spring, summer. So the last thing that I brought with me back from Portland is not something I bought, but rather something I found in my mom's house. And it is the first garment that I ever made for myself. So this is the second thing I've ever sewn. I learned to sew in a costuming course where, yeah, I learned to operate a sewing machine. My very first thing that I sewed was a costume for an actor, and I don't recommend learning to sew that way. It was so nerve-wracking, really terrifying, but that was my introduction. Very just like throw you in the deep end. Yeah, very very theater-esque. But so this is the only thing that I actually like have because of course I didn't get to keep the costume that I made that is probably somewhere in the archives of PSU if they haven't purged that already. Yeah, so that was my first project. This was my second project, and I wanted to share it with you guys because it is so funny to me because some of the techniques in here are top notch, very professional, very much like what I learned in that course. And then some of the other things about it are awful. Um, just really terrible. So it's a very funny juxtaposition that in one garment I have this incredibly meticulous blind machine stitched hem that I think is really good. A little bit lost on a $3 a yard Joann's quilting cotton, but that was what I could afford as a student. And my waistband is very, very neatly stitched in the ditch. But it also is absolutely the wrong interfacing, so it feels terrible. I would also say the waistband is like too high, which was the style in the pattern, but yeah, I would say not ideal. The pockets. This was my first attempt at pockets, and yeah, in some ways I'm very proud. In other ways, it's very funny because when I put this skirt on, I like literally cannot reach the pockets. I have to like extend my arm all the way down. So that feels a bit silly. But the biggest thing is this zipper, you guys. I did not finish. Like we've got raw edges on the waistband here. I didn't like tuck it in, so we just have like the edge of the zipper and the edge of the fabric. So it is so wild to me that yeah, we have like perfect, super neat stitch in the ditch, really well formed pockets, a blind hem, and then just like the worst zip insertion ever. I mean, it was my second zip ever and my first non what is that called? In Dutch it's a blind zip. Invisible zip. Yes. Wow. Okay. So I just think it's very funny to be able to look back on it. It does still fit me. It doesn't fit me well, but if I wanted to, I could probably take this apart and um, turn it into something that would fit me. But I kind of like just holding onto it as is to yeah, show how far we've come. So after the vacation, we had like a couple kind of flex days left before like starting school, starting work again. So we made a couple of like little city trips, and one of them was to Haarlem. And Haarlem is quickly becoming like one of my favorite little spots in the Netherlands. It's a smaller city, like 20 minutes outside Amsterdam. Super, super cute. And there's a really great fabric store there called Folk and Fibre that has a really nice, it's very small, very curated selection of either like European dead stock designer fabrics and like sustainability focused fabric companies. So like Mind the Maker, Atelier Brunette, Fabulism, really, really beautiful selection. And so I picked up a couple things there. So first, actually both of these are remnants, and yeah, they're both a little summery for going forward, and I feel a little bit silly about that. I could have maybe been a little bit more fall focused, but I still really love both of these pieces. So they're both remnants. This one is a tencel satin, and I feel a little bit silly because after I made my bridesmaid's dress from a viscose satin, I said I will never sew this kind of fabric again. It was such a headache. And then I like went and bought some more. But this was so gorgeous, and there's 2 meters of it. And I was initially thinking I really bought it to make something for Netherlands frock tails coming up next month, but I don't know that I'm actually going to get to it on time or if I'm just going to wear something I've already made. It's absolutely beautiful. Like the drape and sheen on this is so, so pretty. There was only 2 meters left. Otherwise, I probably would have gotten a bit more, but it is enough to make like a little bias cut dress. So I've got the Alameda from Nina Lee. And then there's also a couple seam work bias cut dresses that are nice. If I don't end up making that this season, I might just do a bias cut skirt. I think that'd be really fun in this lime green. Would definitely match a lot of my summer wardrobe, but I think it's something I would probably also wear like in the cooler months as well because I just love this bright green color. So yeah, that is the first one, and it's not not going to want to fold up nicely. Like yeah, it just is so drapey. It like moves like liquid, which kind of scares me about sewing it. So I'd have to have a lot of patience and really give myself some time with that one. This one though is a yarn dyed linen, and it is absolutely really, really wonderful quality. It's a very fine linen. It's super, super smooth. So rather than like a heavier, stiffer slub linen, this one is very like light and bouncy. I don't know if I can like kind of show you, like it's very drapey, but it also has a lot of body to it. This one I have 2.5 meters, and I think it would be so cute just in like a Reynolds dress from Helen's Closet. I think would be really pretty. But yeah, this one I'm probably going to, I was overly optimistic when I got this in August that like, oh no, I totally have time to like bust out another summer make before the weather turns. And that was delusional of me. And I thought about like, because there's kind of these like berry tones in there with the orange, like maybe I could bring that over into my fall wardrobe. Um, but looking at some of the other things I want to make this fall, I don't think this quite fits in. So it is going to go into my stash and it will be ready for me, yeah, like next spring and summer. The last little stack I have here is from a day out that I did with some sewing friends. Now, all of our birthdays are kind of close together within like, well, within like 6 weeks of each other, and we don't get to see each other that often. So the four of us got together with a fancy birthday cake, and we did some fabric shopping over in The Hague, which is a city that I don't get to that often, but it is really fun. And they have two great fabric shops there. The first being Domburg, and then being Cross and Woods. So I will first share what I got from Domburg. Now, this is a shop that has a huge selection, everything from like bargains to fancy brands, but it is a little overwhelming because it is like floor to ceiling, just like aisles of fabric. All you can see is fabric. So you have to kind of, I was warned, like, don't get overwhelmed. But there was something that stood out to me, and it is this cotton knit. So it's 100% cotton, but it's got this like window pane texture to it. I hope you can actually see it. If not, I'll try to put in a picture. But yeah, it's 100% cotton, but it is a knit fabric. So it feels very much like a t-shirt weight kind of thing. And I want to make a t-shirt from it. But the only thing is it has, for one, no vertical stretch whatsoever, which is something that I usually like to have. Quite curvy, not only this way, but this way also. So it just, having that vertical stretch usually is very helpful for a fitted garment for me. It doesn't have any at all. And then secondly, while it does have horizontal stretch, it doesn't have very much recovery because again, it's 100% cotton. There's no elastane or spandex to help it like recover back into shape, kind of snap back. So it just kind of like stretches and bags out, as you can kind of see here. So I'm curious what kind of pattern I should look for. Now I have made a t-shirt in a Pontel knit, which is kind of similar, or like sometimes it's called an open weave knit. Again, 100% cotton, lots of stretch, but not any recovery. And yeah, it's a very different sewing experience as to like cotton or viscose jersey, which does have that like stretch back element to it. So I kind of want to do some research. I know the Honey Girl t-shirt, I think from Paradise Patterns, is like specifically for pointel jersey. So I think that that would apply here as well, as far as like the amount of like stretch and recovery that it's meant for. But I am a little bit worried about doing a neckband at all in this kind of fabric, because it seems like it would just get stretched out and eventually like kind of bag out of shape. So I may be looking to do something a little bit different with this one. I'm going to need to do a little research. If you have any suggestions though, definitely let me know. So then we headed over to Cross and Woods, which I would say is kind of like the polar opposite shopping experience as Domburg, which is just like so much fabric. Very much the emphasis is on the like breadth of selection, not so much the experience, whereas Cross and Woods is a crafting parlor. It's this beautifully laid out shop, very curated, but a much smaller selection of fabrics, and definitely kind of in the, how would I want to say that? Very much like the upper end of things. So they've got, like again, some Mind the Maker, Atelier Brunette, but also like Merchant and Mills and Liberty. So very, very beautiful stuff, as well as like lots of wool and knitting and other like fiber arts. They have a big, beautiful table where they host like a craft night and like some workshops. So it's a lot more on like the experience. So it's fun to go to like basically two opposite types of fabric stores back to back. But here's what I found and what I brought home with me. So I picked up some little labels. These are from Sarah Hart's, and when they came out, I really wanted them, but everywhere I was looking did not have them. So I was glad to see that they were in stock. It says good things take time, and some, like my favorite color palette on this one. So these are very cute. I also picked up another little cross stitch kit, and I've actually already started this one. It's a really cute little landscape from Rico Design, and what I really like about it, this one has been really fun to get started with because it is little sections of using one color, but in a way that you get a very textured result. So I've been having a lot of fun with this. It definitely fits that like category of where I can be paying attention to something else, but still working with my hands a little bit, and am very excited for the final results, but I'm definitely enjoying the process on this one too. And for fabrics, I got a couple of pieces that I have been wishing for quite a while. And the first one, I think I've been wanting this one like since it came out. I want to say like last fall or spring. So this is the Atelier Brunette viscose linen, and it's called Little Tiles, which, yeah, is from this kind of geometric texture that it has in the weave. So it's kind of like almost like a jacquard in the way that it's woven. Um, I had a sample of this from Minerva for a project that I did for them over the summer. I had it in the other colorway, but I have been, yeah, just absolutely loving this green. Again, it's that like kind of spring green that's got that ochre color in the base. I'm not sure how it's coming across on screen, but I will put in a picture so you can kind of get it true to color. Greens are always hard to get to show up correctly on camera, but then this one, because it's got like sort of a sheen throughout, is extra extra difficult. So yeah, I'll put in a picture for sure, but it's such a beautiful texture. Again, it's like my favorite color. So I'm very excited about this one. I got 2.5 meters, and that's kind of my safety number. I think what I really want from this is a skirt, something that I will wear probably year round. But in case I wanted to change my mind and make it into a dress, I got that little extra half meter. So we'll see about that. I think this is one I'm going to incorporate into my fall plans. Yeah, I just think it is so cute with the little geometric pattern. Again, my favorite color, so I'm very excited about this one. I saved my favorite for last, and I have to say I am like so happy that I finally have this fabric. I've been wanting it for almost 3 years, literally 2.5 years. I have been thinking about this fabric like at least weekly. I've talked about it on here. I've put it like in my mood boards. And now that I have it, I feel like even more pressure to like know what to do with it, to pick like the right thing. And I recognize I'm being really silly and that like one garment cannot possibly be all the things that I want it to be. But I love this print so much that like I want to be able to wear it every single season. I want it to be able to like fluctuate size with me. I want it to be like an everyday garment that I can just like reach for and get tons of wear out of. But at the same time, I also want it to be like something very special. That's like too much to ask from one garment. So I need to settle down. Um, I guess I should probably show it to you. This is the Liberty print, Follow the Sun. So this is, to date, the most expensive fabric that I have. Um, Now, I have sewn with Liberty Tana lawn before, and I made a beautiful Helmy blouse that I wear like all the time. It was a joy to sew. Like the Tana lawn is so, so good. It feels really good to wear. And prior to making that top, I was like, I don't know what people are on about with this Liberty stuff. It seems overhyped to me. Reader, it is not overhyped. It's so good. It's so nice to sew. It's so nice to wear. And that kind of like fuels my indecision because it's now like on a pedestal and it's like so precious to me that I really need to calm down and like lower the stakes if I ever want to actually cut into this and be able to wear it. I need to not like be expecting perfection. And that is where I am currently struggling. So, yeah, that's a bit about my process. The fabric itself, again, it's 100% cotton Tana lawn. It's beautiful. It's got these like medieval style, like tarot card kind of suns on it, with different little faces and expressions. In there, there's actually about this color, there's like ochre, but then also kind of a little green in there as like the spokes of the sun, as well as this like bright pop of neon pink. And I think those like neons in there really kind of modernize. I think the print itself or the motif itself could read very traditional, very old school, but yeah, those bright colors in there kind of just like liven it up. And I really love it. And it doesn't help my like indecision that these suns like remind me of one of my favorite songs. So it's a song by Boy Genius, and the lyric in the first verse goes, you say you're a winter bitch, but summer is in your blood and you can't help but become the sun. And that has always been very special to me because I I know that one of my like defense mechanisms is to get very cynical and a bit sarcastic. Um, but I know when I'm really like aligned and like living from like a good place and really being myself, I am very much an idealist, an optimist. I am looking for the best in everybody and every situation, not to the point where I'm ignoring hard things, but in the way that I'm looking to improve and bring light and joy into situations. Um, And yeah, life gets hard sometimes, and I kind of go to like that shadow side. And so this song always reminds me, like, no, I can become the sun again. Um, that is what my nature is. So that also adds a like a level of sentimentality to this fabric. And I'm trying not to let that like up the stakes. So I really just need to like sit on this for a little bit. I think I will take a little cutting of it and maybe do kind of like what I've done here with just like putting it in an embroidery hoop, somewhere that I can see it and like it can still make me happy while I'm not yet ready to cut into it and sew it into a garment. So that is everything that I've been buying this summer. It feels like a lot, and it's very different for me too, because typically I buy things with like a very specific item in mind. Like, if not the exact pattern, I at least have an idea of like the type of garment and like what features I want. And pretty much with all 6 of these fabrics, I am not really sure. So that is kind of new for me. I am very curious to know if you have any pattern suggestions for me. A couple things I do always keep in mind is a size inclusivity. So I like to only buy patterns that go up to at least a 60-inch hip on the size chart, and ideally patterns that have extra bust cup options built into the pattern as well. So keep that in mind if you have any suggestions, and if not, that's also fine, but I'm very curious to hear what you think. Also very curious what you have been sewing or what you are planning. Not only have I been like, yeah, away from my own sewing machine, but I just kind of feel like a bit disconnected from, yeah, from you guys and from like the sewing community while I was traveling. So yeah, let me know what you've been working on, what you are planning going into fall, or if you are on the other side of the world going into spring. So yeah, let me know. You can either comment down below, you can go find me on Instagram and like shoot me a progress pic or what you are like excited about that you made for the summer, etc., etc. So with that, I think I will go. I am losing my voice, so I have to cut myself off. Plus, this has been probably a long video anyway. So I will see you next time, hopefully with my fall plans. Still working out a couple of things, still kind of getting some ideas together. But yeah, I think that will be my next video. So until then, I wish you the best weeks of sewing fun and happy making, guys. Bye!